NASA has released a stunning view of Saturn and its splendid rings and moons that has been captured by the Cassini spacecraft during the final leg.
As Cassini hurtled through the blackness of space, far beyond the comforting pull of Earth's gravity, it approached a region that mission scientists had charted but never truly expected to conquer. This was not just another scheduled flyby or a routine orbit around Saturn. This was different. This was the moment Cassini made an encounter that should have been, by all standards of engineering and known science, impossible. The spacecraft had already accomplished more than most missions ever dreamed of, weaving through Saturn's rings, decoding mysteries about the gas giant's magnetic field, and plunging into the environments of its icy moons. But this final navigation through an unexplored zone between Saturn and its innermost ring was something beyond imagination. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. Cassini's dive through the narrow gap between Saturn and its D-ring was the culmination of years of planning and bold decisions. The region was thought to be too densely packed with debris, too chaotic for a spacecraft to traverse without suffering catastrophic damage. No probe had ever ventured into that domain, and certainly not with the finesse and endurance Cassini demonstrated. What made this maneuver feel impossible wasn't just the physical risk. It was the convergence of speed, trajectory, gravitational forces, and spatial constraints. Elements that, when combined, left virtually no room for error. The spacecraft moved at a staggering speed of over 75,000 miles per hour, threading the needle between Saturn's upper atmosphere and the sharp edge of the ring system. A single miscalculation could have ended the mission instantly, sending Cassini tumbling into oblivion, yet it pierced through the void like a phantom, untouched by the millions of microscopic particles that should have shredded its delicate instruments. It wasn't just luck. This was the result of meticulous programming, near miraculous timing, and an underlying confidence in physics that bordered on poetic. During the encounter, Cassini's instruments came alive with activity. It wasn't just capturing images or measuring magnetic fields. It was immersed in an environment that no human-made object had ever entered. The data streamed back to Earth like whispers from a forbidden zone. The spacecraft measured fluctuations in the magnetic field with such precision that scientists began to suspect Saturn's internal dynamics were far more complex than previously thought. The readings hinted at unexplained forces beneath the planet's clouds, as if Saturn's core was pulsing with something that defied the expected behavior of gas giants. More astounding were the images that trickled back. They weren't the broad, majestic visuals Cassini had become famous for during its earlier orbits. These were tight, chaotic, almost claustrophobic glimpses of ring particles and gas clashing in high-speed turbulence. Cassini captured shadowed structures within the D-ring that looked like waves frozen in time, standing vertically like walls that shouldn't exist in a disk of debris. The resolution showed unexpected textures and patterns, not smooth and graceful as assumed, but raw, sharp, and oddly geometric. The encounter also revealed subtle changes in radiation levels, suggesting that the space Cassini traversed wasn't just physically narrow, it was a crucible of energetic interactions. Radiation belts flared, collapsed, and reformed in moments. There were localized magnetic anomalies that flickered like ghosts around the spacecraft. None of these phenomena had been predicted. They had only been hypothesized in the vaguest of terms. But now they danced vividly across Cassini's sensors, each pulse and flux telling a story humanity had never heard before. As the probe hurtled through the gap, it recorded gravitational distortions that hinted at unknown masses, perhaps rogue particles or unseen debris clusters hidden within the ring's shadow. These anomalies tugged subtly on the spacecraft, nudging its course by fractions of degrees, yet those minute deflections were enough to rewrite existing models of ring dynamics. The rings, once believed to be mostly passive formations of icy rock, now appeared more alive, dynamic systems driven by internal feedback loops, electromagnetic storms, and chaotic resonance. But the real shock came when Cassini's cosmic dust analyzer registered a complete absence of particles where there should have been billions. This section of the gap, presumed to be thick with ring detritus, was eerily clean. It was as if something, or some force, was clearing the area, creating a protective tunnel through the wreckage. This challenged decades of assumptions. Theories sprang into consideration: electromagnetic clearing, hidden shepherd moons, or even a resonance with Saturn's internal oscillations. Whatever the explanation, it demanded a complete reassessment of planetary ring evolution. Equally bizarre were the temperature readings. Cassini expected to encounter freezing, consistent cold within the shadow of the rings. Instead, its instruments picked up erratic thermal spikes, brief moments where the surrounding environment flashed warmer by several degrees before plummeting back. These anomalies suggested the presence of localized heat sources, possibly generated by the high-velocity friction of ring particles, or even micrometeoroid collisions happening just out of sight. The implications for ring chemistry and particle cohesion were profound. It became clear that the rings weren't just passive remnants of cosmic collisions. They were active, fluctuating environments. The spacecraft's magnetometer added another layer of mystery. Saturn's magnetic field was already known to behave oddly, tilted less than Earth's and lacking a clear source of oscillation. But during this deep plunge, the magnetometer detected ripples and pulses that seemed to emanate from the planet's interior and propagate outward like seismic waves in an ocean of invisible energy. These weren't artifacts or errors. They were patterned, rhythmic, and completely unexpected. Saturn's internal engine was speaking, and Cassini was the only ear close enough to listen. This impossible encounter, brief as it was in the timeline of the mission, transformed Cassini from a planetary observer into something closer to an interstellar spelunker. It descended into the heart of Saturn's secret architecture and emerged with evidence of a system more complex, more alive, and more unpredictable than previously understood. The spacecraft, though automated and unfeeling, had become a pioneer of a new frontier. One that wasn't just about space exploration, but about confronting the boundaries of what could be navigated, understood, or even imagined. Just as awe-inspiring as the raw data was the sheer resilience of the spacecraft itself. Cassini wasn't built for this kind of exposure. It was launched in 1997, long before the tools we associate with deep learning, adaptive AI, or real-time data parsing were fully developed. And yet it handled the high-speed dive through this gravitational minefield with a grace that seemed to transcend its original engineering. It maintained orientation, communicated without lag, and kept its instruments calibrated in the face of unprecedented environmental strain. This moment wasn't just about human curiosity. It was a testament to human ingenuity, determination, and a willingness to send a fragile machine into the heart of chaos, to chase truths we barely knew how to frame. And those truths kept piling up. From chemical traces that hinted at ring materials far older than the planet itself, to momentary gravitational tugs that suggested the rings might have absorbed or concealed ancient celestial bodies, Cassini was unraveling a story that reached back before Saturn's current form, possibly to the early architecture of the solar system. It was as if the spacecraft had stepped into a time capsule hidden in plain sight, one wrapped around a planet but never fully visible until now. The trajectory Cassini followed during this encounter was not just a path through space. It was a descent into the unknown laws that govern massive planetary systems. The gravitational curve it followed had to be razor precise, its angle of approach adjusted by hundreds of minor course corrections to avoid the gravitational pull turning lethal. Yet Cassini maneuvered like a creature that understood the dance, a whisper-thin arc that passed through Saturn's most dangerous arena and emerged with secrets no one else could have retrieved. All the while, the probe's radio antenna remained locked on Earth, pulsing out updates through the deep space network. The bandwidth was limited, the lag in communication immense, but the messages that came back were filled with revelations. From nitrogen-rich vapors to unexpected patterns in charged particles, everything Cassini recorded added complexity to Saturn's narrative. It was no longer just a gas giant with beautiful rings. It was a dynamic living world with layers of intricacy still beyond full comprehension. There was something poetic in the silence of space as Cassini moved through that void. No sounds marked its passing, no bursts of flame or celebration, just a solitary machine running on decades-old software, proving that impossible was just a term awaiting redefinition. In that moment, it did more than just defy risk. It redefined what could be attempted in planetary science. This wasn't just a flyby. It was a daring infiltration, a surgical mission into the narrow corridor between the known and the unthinkable. Every image, every spectrograph, every magnetic pulse Cassini recorded during that encounter added texture to the canvas of Saturn. The spacecraft saw things we hadn't even asked questions about, from the altitude of ring clumps to the near imperceptible waves caused by unseen masses. The data transformed Saturn from a majestic icon into a deeply nuanced, sometimes volatile entity. What was once a picturesque celestial body had now become a realm of profound mystery. In traversing a path never meant for human-made objects, Cassini challenged our confidence in models and exposed the limitations of our predictive power. The assumptions that had governed ring physics for decades cracked under the weight of real-world data. The particles weren't behaving as they should. The gravitational harmonics didn't align with current simulations. Even Saturn's atmosphere, so often seen as a static sheath of gas, responded to Cassini's presence with unexpected turbulence and fluctuations, as though acknowledging the intrusion of something alien. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Cassini's impossible encounter? What do you expect happened? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.